Hello, friends. Welcome to our Legacy Plus. I'm taking my family and friends along my journey to create a sustainable legacy and inviting all of you to come along. Today, we are exploring what it means to be a spiritual versus a natural person. And our moderator for today is Ms. Winnie Benjamin, the owner of Stewardship Masters International. And today she's going to introduce a special guest. I'm so excited to hear what he has to say. It's Dr. Warner Richards. He's the founder of Aubrey and Hughes Consulting, LLC. Okay, Winnie, it's up to you.
All righty. Thank you, Susan. Again, I thank you for the privilege and the honor for being on your awesome journey, as I say, this wagon train of legacy growth and development. And of course, I'm totally excited to hear from our awesome speaker, Dr. Warner Richards. So we'll share a little bit about Dr. Warner Richards. Dr. Warner Richards, I should say Dr. Antonio, Dr. Warner Antonio Richards has been a pastor for more than 30 years, and he is the founder of Aubrey and Hugh Consulting, LLC. From humble beginnings and against all odds, Dr. Warner Richards became a theologian and a spiritual leader. After migrating to the USA, he subsequently became a clinical chaplain, a mental health consultant, and a psychologist. His education is in Bachelor's of Arts in Theology at Union College, Master of Arts in Pastoral Ministry from Andrews University, Master of Arts in Christian Counseling from the American Christian College and Seminary, Doctor of Psychology, University of the Rockies, Ashford, and a postdoctorate certificate of advanced studies in mental health counseling at Alfred University. His doctoral research was focused on the meaning clergy derive from congregational conflict and how do they describe its effects on motivation and satisfaction. He is also the author of the Real Life Matrix Bible Study Guide, of which I'm a proud owner of, A Journey into the Born Again Experience. Warner A. Richards is currently the senior pastor of a large congregation in Brooklyn, New York, and a practicing psychotherapist at Indigo Dove Therapy and Wellness in Baldwin, New York. He resides in Long Island, along with his wife, Norca Blackman Richards. They both have a passion for helping people achieve their highest potential. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed an honor. And I'd let you know, I happen to know Dr. Warner Richards for, I would say, the last 17 years, including his wife, who is the founder and president of the For Real Women International organization. So it is indeed the truth that they both help people to achieve their highest potential. And as a matter of fact, he was the pastor that baptized me as a Christian too. So yes, it's a little personal of mine knowing Dr. Warner Richards and the awesome work he is doing, especially in the area of mental health counseling, and his new passion in helping individuals really understand the spiritual side of their existence that sadly so many of us have never been able to know. So, Dr. Richards, welcome. It's indeed a pleasure to have you with us today. And so as I moderate and ask you a few questions, I'm going to actually let you open up in a thought, a presentation of what you'd like to talk about and share with us, the presentation aspect of it, so we can ask you some questions from that. Is that okay, sir?
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to begin by saying thank you so much, Mrs. Russell, for allowing me and inviting me to be on this awesome platform today for our Legacy Plus. And thank you also, Coach Winnie, for your invitation and facilitating the opportunity to come and to be a part of this, I will call it historic venture
Yes.
Thank you so much. I am humbled by the invitation. And I would like to begin, dear friends, by talking about life, this mysterious thing we call life. And I would like to begin by saying that life is spiritual. So what I've discovered in my observations as a social, spiritual, and, and life observer is that in our world today, millions are going around in circles. They're trying to find the coveted inner peace that will give them meaning and add purpose to their existence. Yet, they're always striving, but never truly attaining. Many more are trying hard to discover, why am I here?
Yes.
They are constantly asking themselves, who am I? And what is the point of this thing we call life? Sadly, I must say that even Christians find themselves in that predicament. And I single out Christians not in disparity of any other faith tradition, but I come from a Christian perspective myself because I am a Christian, so I can speak authoritatively from that perspective that I have found that even Christians find themselves in that predicament. And the question is why? But I believe that the answer to that question is that we have not become aware of the fact that everything in life has a spirit connection. Let me say that again. Everything in life has a spirit connection. So the things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we touch, the things that we taste, they are not the full reality of what is involved in life. Understanding that fact will give us a deeper understanding of the fact that there is more to life than what is material. So I must confess that my understanding of this subject, as I said earlier, comes primarily from the Bible and also to some degree from the social sciences. I believe that the Bible is an ancient sacred text that provides deep truths into the mystery of our connection to the spirit life. And by the way of spirit life is the only path to true life.
Wow.
Material life, or what the Bible refers to as the carnal, is finite and limiting in its existence. So the Bible teaches that mankind was created perfectly, with no traces of evil or wickedness. The life of humans then was real because their lives were connected to the source, God, the creator, the ultimate spirit. So he is the ultimate divinity, that is, the ultimate reality. So the first humans were placed in an environment. I like to call that environment the real life matrix.
Wow.
And the Bible presents that real life matrix under the name of the Garden of Eden. So according to that narrative, when evil spirits enticed humans to claim independence from their creator, from the source, it did so by introducing, and listen to this carefully, it did so by introducing what is known in psychology as cognitive distortions.
Whoa.
So as a result, humans have been living by distorted notions of self, of others, of the universe, and God. And all of our issues in not comprehending who we truly are in our spirit nature derives from that original cognitive distortion that was planted in us. So I'll stop here for now because I don't want this to be a monologue. I'm not here preaching, but we want to have a conversation. So I want to introduce the subject with that, and I welcome your questions and your inputs and your reactions to what I just said.
I am just on fire. You don't see me moving around. I mean, I'm so excited about this topic, and I'm trying to hold my mouth, and I see it bursting out. I said, "Whoa!" Oh, I am Dr. Richards. I tell you, you know, I don't even know if to speak English, German, French, whatever. It's just so powerful. What you just said, I mean, you said a lot. And I can go down each of these points, but the one that was the defining factor here was, and you can correct me if I didn't hear you correctly, that God introduced cognitive distortion.
Well, not God, but the evil spirits.
Oh, evil spirits.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me. So that clarifies it. Okay. Permitted by God, of course, you know, because God could have shut that down. So, and because of that, it has led to us having a distorted notion of ourselves, others, and God, which is absolutely right on, spot on. Took me a long time to understand that, to stop fighting with people and calling them names and not wanting to talk to them and want to know what's wrong with them, and you know, all the infighting and all of it. I just think you mentioning that as a key point, I think it's worthy, Susan. I think it's a worthy part for us to engage Dr. Richards in that conversation, because it impacts when he said self, others, and God. And even if we just sort of leave God on the throne for a minute and then focus on self and others, how can that impact, Susan? This is what I'm going to ask Dr. Richards. How does this self-distortion of ourself and others could impact legacy development and growth? Because that's God's will, that an established legacy that he puts in place need to continue. So Dr. Richards, could you help us understand, as our wagon train, so to speak, of us taking our legacies, taking people along with them to developing this sustainable legacy that they can transition from generation to generation. And we're hitting it right in the beginning of this juncture. Could you introduce or help us understand how that distortion could possibly impact the desire for someone to have sustainable legacy?
Well, it impacts it immensely, and I will answer your question this way. We learn from the sacred scriptures that God is spirit. That's what we read in the New Testament in John chapter 4. Jesus himself said that. He said, God is spirit. And then also in 1 John, we see that it is mentioned that God is love. So here we have a divine being that we call God. He is spirit in nature, meaning he is not physical, neither is he limited by anything physical or material. He can take on any form that he wants into infinitus possibilities.
Wow.
He's not bound by space or by time, so he transcends everything that we see, touch, and feel, which means that even though he is the creator of the universe, he doesn't live in it, because when you build something, you don't have to be in it to build it. You have to be outside of it in order to build it.
Whoa, God, that's deep. Can you say that again? Can you say that again? Wait a minute. I got to take my notes. Oh, my Lord. When you build something, come on. When you build something, tell me now. Come on.
When you build something, you have to be outside of it in order to construct it or to build it. And then if it's large enough, you can choose to go in it or out of it as you choose. Think about it like a house. Yes. When you're building a house, you have to be outside of it, building it, before you can actually go into it. So God created this universe, but he's not bound by it. Now, so God is spirit, but he's also love. That's part of his nature and his character. But then there is the opposing spirit that we know as the evil spirits. Watch this now. Just as God is a person and he is love, also selfishness, which is the opposite of love, is a person. Wow. And this is where I'm going with this. Wow. The cognitive distortion that the evil spirits introduced to humanity in the beginning, in what we know in theology is the original sin, the major cognitive distortion was selfishness or self-centeredness. Wow. So humans disconnected from the source of love and they became limited to self. Remember now, when God created man, God said, it is not good for man to be alone. We have taken that statement as if it only refers to marriage, but it goes beyond the marriage. And it's speaking to what this initiative is about, legacy. You see, love cannot exist in isolation.
Lord have mercy.
But love has to have an object of love. And that's why in the Christian tradition, we believe that divinity is three persons. If God was a single solo individual, how could he be loved and have nobody to share that love with? So divinity in that triune unit shared eternity and love, and that love spilled out in creation to have more recipients and objects of that love. So when divinity declared that it's not good for man to be alone, he was making reference to the community, to relationships, and also to transcending our time by creating legacy. In other words, others will be able to benefit and enjoy whatever we are creating now.
Wow.
It's part of our creation. And when we don't do that, we are limiting our existence to the cognitive distortion of selfishness.
Wow, that is powerful. We are what others should benefit in the future for that which we are creating right now.
That's correct. That's correct.
This has been Susan Russell's burning inside passion that she has been struggling to communicate to the world. And that's why we're here today. And of course, you know, even though her focus was on finance, because in the real natural world, that is the power the natural person, the only power the natural person believe that they have, because the world of Caesar doesn't want to know you're paying the bill by love. And the bank doesn't want to know you're paying the mortgage by love. And the supermarket doesn't want to know that the cash register is love. So reality, the government, which is Caesar, says that he functions only by this economic thing called money. So I get it. I understand what Susan's passion was, but I had the honor with her humility and humbleness to let me introduce the higher format of what we need to be creating which is more sustainable, that is boundless, that is huge, is connecting to the spiritual power, which is God, to make us get rid of, and this is what I'm hearing you to say, Dr. Richards, in a nutshell, get rid of selfishness, self-centeredness, and freely, lovingly create everything that gives us the energy to know that we're doing this not for self today, which is never going to make us happy, but the happiness is coming from what we're creating today, knowing it is for the future to benefit.
That's correct.
Did I get it right, sir?
Yes, you see the cognitive distortion of self-centeredness operates under the premise that you must compete with others. You must push others away. But the reality is that no one can truly realize their potential by themselves. We are wounded in relationships and we are healed in relationships.
Wow.
And when we have studied in the social sciences and psychological sciences, that has been an established empirical fact that anyone who has been traumatized or who is suffering from any kind of emotional, mental struggles, they need a community for their healing process. They cannot do it in isolation. So it is not good for man to be alone. And the divine creator established that from the very beginning. And that's why love is that glue that will connect us to that community that will help us heal. And watch this now, not just emotional healing or physical healing or mental healing, but also financial healing. Wow. There is enough resource in the world to sustain us all. We don't need to compete with one another in order to succeed. But if we were to collaborate, all of us would succeed even more than we are. But we have bought into the lie that I have to destroy you as my competition,
my God,
in order for me to achieve what I need to achieve. When if we were to work together, both of us would be infinitely more prosperous, and our progeny would also be as well.
Absolutely awesome. My God, I am so enriched. Susan Russell, it's your turn to ask Dr. Richards.
All right, Dr. Richards, I see the problem. I see the problem. You explained it very nicely, very succinctly, so we can all understand it. But my question is, so how do we solve the problem?
How do we solve the problem? Well, certainly the issue that we have, it's ingrained in our human nature. And, you know, churches have been erected, and evangelists have been deployed all over the world, and we still see that we have the problem.
Yes.
And I think the missing piece is that people want to see this modeled. And churches have become institutionalized and become business-like, and other things have become so institutionalized that we have become more a model of what the material world is than what God intended. So the greatest lesson that we can teach others, in addition to having conversations like these, is that people need to see it play out in real people's lives. And when they see it, they will be able to say, I want that. How can I get it?
That's the solution. Oh my God, it's all in the modeling of our behavior, our character, the true nature of God's character. If we only adopt it, learn it, practice it, and demonstrate it before others. And Dr. Richards, what you're saying is so spot on, because science has proven it. How many people today are modeling celebrities who they don't even know what they smell like? They haven't touched them. All they see is their physical appearance and a voice, just that and the things that they say and do. And the next thing you know, they're running out to buy, they're wearing, what hairstyle they're wearing. And all they did is not that any of those celebrities says go out unless they have a product they're really, supporting. But in nature, they are just wearing an outfit. That's all. Whether it's on the red carpet or whether it's on a wedding day because they're influencer, or they're just wearing a hairstyle, anything. And they all go out searching for it. And that influencer never once said, here, get this or get that. So it's telling you what you're saying in modeling, just showing up and modeling, people automatically are wired to replicate.
Yes, you see, we have innate in us a part of us, and that's our spirit nature, that in some folks, it may be awakened because we are aware. In others, it's latent. And they feel impulses pushing them towards certain things, but they don't understand what it is. So if we don't understand our true nature and where our source is, we will try to emulate something that is not going to take us where we need to be.
Wow.
That's why people run after celebrities.
Yeah.
They run after all these things they see and they try to emulate that. Why? Because they don't know what the true model is. The true model is this. The Bible tells us, Genesis, that we were created in the image and the likeness of God. So I want us to get into that a little bit. And I want to ask the question, what is that image?
Ooh,
what is the image?
I got to know it as his character. I happen to know that image is his express character of love and joy and peace and goodness and gentleness and patience and having massive faith and self-control and patience. Oh my God. And I figured all those 9 attributes coupled together for us as living beings, we're given that to develop them on a granular level, Come to realize, Christian, that love is not a verb. I mean, love is not just an emotion, it's a verb. It's the action that, it's the emotion that comes from the servitude. When you serve somebody in a magnificent and excellent way, you start to feel that emotion. And especially if the person is very close to you as the form of a husband and a wife or a mother and, or a parent and a child, unselfish demonstration of service automatically seems to evoke this emotion that we sort of call feel loved.
Yes.
You can correct me, sir.
Well, no, you're spot on. And I would like to just add to what you said the following. If we look at the etymology of the word image, the word image basically means a replica of something else. So here is the interesting stuff. I mean, this is exciting. I just love this. I'm passionate about this stuff. Here's the thing. The Bible says we were created in the image of God. So now, if God is a spirit, what's the image of a spirit? So the only true image of a spirit is another spirit form. So when in Genesis chapter 2, it says that man was formed from the dust of the ground and then God breathed in his nostril the breath of life, spirit in the New Testament is translated pneuma, A neuma, from that word in the Spanish language, pneumatico means inner tube. And an inner tube is something that's filled with air. So here is the breath, the pneuma. It is making reference to spirit. So watch this now. When the divine spirit, source, creator, breathed into that sculpture of dust, man, he was extending his spirit nature within that casing, that body.
Wow.
So his image is his breath or / his spirit nature. So God, ooh, I love this. He replicated himself in our human body.
My good Lord, have mercy. This is
so by containing his spirit, which is what gives life to this body of ours. When the spirit leaves, this body just is a body, it's dead. So it is that spirit nature within the body that now actuates the mind and our behavior and everything to behave like God. So all those attributes you just mentioned, Winnie,
yes,
they come about by the spirit nature, the replica of God's spirit nature in us. So we can be like him because the spirit in us manifests in his likeness.
Good Lord, this is so deep. I believe, of course, we come to the top of our hour here, but I would like very much, Dr. Richards, if you will be able on the next session for you to lead from this last comment to express upon it more, because I think if our people understand that in its depth, they would best understand self. And if they best understand self and realize this ought to be replicated in the family, right?
Yes.
We'd be fighting on the passing of our parents over the asset. Would it be showing up in probate court where siblings hate each other forever because they're fighting over family asset? This is pervasive and insurmountable actions going on right now. And so I would love very much, sir, if you can continue this saga, this entire journey for us in understanding self so that we can have a sustainable legacy.
I would love to.
Okay.
We'd love to have you.
Then any last parting words for Dr. Richards? Because I know it's in sincere and deep gratitude that I am yelling right now for what has been shared. Any comment, ma'am?
Yeah, I truly enjoyed what you had to say. I got a lot out of it. I'm looking forward to you coming back and giving us more soon, okay?
All right.
I'll be honored to come.
So thank you so much, Dr. Richards. And until next time, we would just say to our family, again, thanks for being here today. And I know Susan is going to say her parting words to the audience. Susan?
Family, I'm glad you're here. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. And you make sure you come back too. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.